Hello, and welcome to the colder weather. I woke up this morning with snow on the ground. It's not going to stick, but definitely a change in the seasons here. Looking back at October, as usual, we want to look at what's going on in the economy and the markets. The International Monetary Fund came out with its World Economic Outlook mid last month, showed that forecasting global growth of about 3.2% for this year, and their forecast of 3.1% for 2026. So looks to be, as far as we can see around the globe, a bit steady for growth next year. That's a good thing, obviously. Slow and steady wins the race, of course. Here on our side, some of the pieces of economic data, consumer sentiment is showing some signs of slowness, some softness in the economy, of course, as a result of that. Labor market metrics are showing up to be a little bit weaker. Even with the Fed's rate cut, we're starting to see the economy slow down a little bit here. Obviously, that's month to month that we look at that, and of course, I'll keep you apprised of what's going on into the future. Sentiment, being lower doesn't necessarily surprise me, especially, with some of the survey data coming out in the midst of the government shutdown last month. So we'll see what the impact of that shutdown is going to be. We won't get that data probably until next year, right? The economy is a big moving animal with lots of parts, so it takes a while to get that data out. But in the past, the measure is definitely in the billions when we do shut down the government, and unfortunately, so we'll see what the consequences of that to the economy do end up looking like. On the positive front, the producer manufacturing index, it did tick up a bit, so that's good. Now that could be just some seasonal uptick, ramping up manufacturing for the holidays, but the trend has been in a more positive direction. And of course, the more manufacturing that's going on as a response to demand, then the more goods and services, particularly goods, can then be produced. So not a whole lot of additional economic data. We haven't gotten much additional information on the impact of tariffs, but with the government being shut down all of last month, that's not really a surprise. For the market, from the market perspective, surprisingly, with the government shutting down, the markets were up last month. S&P was up 2.3%. And actually, stocks all over the world were up generally, except for Germany. Here in the bond market, pretty flat, up about 0.6%, and that's not a surprise with the Fed cutting interest rates a little bit, that bonds would be up a little bit. There is that inverse relationship between bonds and stocks. So all in all, fairly good, fairly stable month for October as far as the markets and the economy are concerned. On our end here, we've been continuing to rebalance and trim some of the kind of overvalued nature that we're seeing in the markets, particularly the S&P 500. So you would have seen a change there for us to get a bit more defensive. Same thing on the bond side. We reduced some allocation to some high yield bonds too. So we're just kind of continuing to pump the brakes into what we're seeing as some economic softness, and still obviously looking for those opportunities going forward. So here in November, it's RMD season. So those of you that are of that age for required minimum distributions, we're going to be getting those done. So if you are curious about any of that or want me to accelerate that, certainly let me know. Also looking at some tax implications from the One Big Beautiful Bill earlier this year, particularly with regards to those over 65 and getting that additional deduction. We have accelerated a little bit of income for some folks to take advantage of that. If you'd like to have that conversation, let me know. And we're also looking at some capital gains, inside of some accounts too, and maybe getting some of those out in a smart tax way. So I'm always open and available to have those kinds of questions answered and the discussions had. So if you're interested, curious about any of that, don't hesitate to let me know. Otherwise, we will see you next month after we enjoy lots of turkey. Take care. Thank you.